Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and here we grove again. I'm sorry for being corny. I'm sorry for being corny, but we're about to get into some weird stuff. And some of you obviously know about the Bohemian Grove and the odd rituals that go on there. You also understand that it's a place where prominent men get together and set policy in secret. And that is why we're really concerned. And a lot of these men that we're talking about are heads of industry, political insiders, presidents on top of that. But we're going to get into that in a moment. Okay, first, I want to discuss that we do know the dates right now. In fact, there was kind of a big hubbub about all of this in California because many people didn't want to provide security for an all-male elitist club. And even though it passed, I think it had to be renewed from 2004, I believe, they pretty much said, look, we don't think we're ever going to pass this again, okay? That's the bottom line. And it's going to be held, I believe it's July 10th, to the 28th. They're going to have padded security for all of these people. Okay, so for a little history lesson on who the Grove is, I do have a section of this in Invisible Empire, by the way. If you're not watching all the videos, you got to scroll all the way down, but I also have playlists, guys, and my playlist has all my documentaries for free. You got to get down there a little further, and there you go, Invisible Empire, the entire movie there. Or just watch my latest video where I play pretty much the whole Bohemian Grove section when talking about Pete Bootlicker, the new Democratic hopeful for president. So let's watch a 1981 clip so we can kind of go over what the Grove is.
Now a question. What have Herbert Hoover, Art Linkletter, Jack London, and Richard Nixon all had in common? Well, they've all been members of the exclusive all-male Bohemian Club in California, where every year at this time, the elite from around the country get together for 2.5 weeks of fun and games. Steve Shepard has this special assignment
Fun and
report.
games. It's fun and
More
games.
than 2,000 members of San Francisco's exclusive and all-male Bohemian Club.
Now, this is 2,000 members. Here's the thing, guys. I told you I was going to have kind of like a little historical treat. Back in the day, I got their annals off of eBay. Okay, the annal I'm holding here is published in 1930, I believe. It's 1930 published on this one, right? Yes, so everybody can see that. We're talking old. So this is an old boys club. It started out with under 1,000 members in the late 1800s. So by 1981, probably just under, what is this, 1896, I think? This is the annals that it goes from. Yes, 895 to 1906. Okay. So by 81, they have 2,000. They have about 3,000 plus members now. But again, all male, very powerful people. And let's continue.
Have once again descended on Northern California. These men will spend most of the month of July encamped on some 2,700 acres of pristine and privately owned redwood forest. Forest very much like this. The place is called Bohemian Grove, and it's located just 80 miles north of San Francisco. The Grove is the Bohemian Club's summer retreat, and its facilities are hidden beneath lush forest canopy extending south from the banks of Sonoma County's Russian River. For more than a century, the camp has been a place where club members and guests from all across America gather to relax. The retreat is divided into dozens of small camps, the most prominent of which is called Mandalay. Among its members are businessmen like Leonard Firestone and Edgar Kaiser, and political figures like Gerald Ford, Henry Kissinger, William French Smith, and George Shultz.
Let me stop that. Ronald Reagan, they're going to tell you about, but Henry Kissinger. Kissinger still made it to Bilderberg, didn't he? And once again, Bilderberg with 130, 140 members, people of big prominence. There is a lot of overlap there. This is how compartmentalization works. And like I said, they've been around for a long time. They are setting policy in there. This annal has so much history in it. I mean, boy, oh boy. For instance, let's see. The Faustian plays. Let me see if I can find that. The Faustian plays, that kind of a theme. Here we go. I used this picture, scanned it in, I made an animation out of it. But boom, there you go. There's a lot of oddities going on here. And guys, this is not the only book I was able to get. I actually have the Centennial Edition from 1972 because it's a little green. It's going to go out. Don't worry, it's not magic. But also a ton of history in here, guys. Just, I mean, you name it. There is some real history right here. So I'm really, and these are in great shape. 1907 to 1972, that edition deals with. So let's continue on with the video. Look at these influencers.
President Reagan, Vice President Bush, and Defense Secretary Weinberger are members of other camps.
Casper
Richard
Weinberger.
Nixon is a Bohemian, and so are high-ranking executives of such companies as Eastern Airlines, Standard Oil of Indiana, and Bank of America. For the most part, the men of Bohemian Grove are over 50, highly successful, and, according to many employees, politically conservative.
Well, each year, many of them seem to have a stunt or try to come up with a stunt. Last year, in 1980, the popular button was Free the Fortune 500.
And let's just stop it right there. Obviously, I've done a lot of work on this. There's a lot of cross-dressing going on because there are only men for these plays. In 2004, I go over this in, Invisible Empire. You can go see that section in the bootlicker video I just did. And yeah, man, a lot of these guys are closeted homosexuals. More of them are out now because it's 2019. But I remember when they had Chad Savage come in 2004. So it's an all-male staff. It's all guys. They're there for 2+ weeks in some cases. Some people are just popping in for meetings. But as you just saw, Bush, Nixon, Ford, Reagan, Kissinger, Weinberger, names of their time. Some very big names to this day.
Membership in the Grove is by invitation only and is determined by such factors as social standing, occupation, and personal connections. Privacy is one of the Grove's most cherished virtues. Members may not photograph, record, speak, or write about activities at the retreat. While many public officials are Grove members, the press is a distinctly unwelcome guest.
We're from ABC News.
Well, get back there.
Get back there. And as you can see, he has the badge on. That's the sheriff, and they've been doing this forever. So the big controversy is now they don't want the sheriff's department to protect these guys. Why? Because of the social justice movement. Now, there is an editorial by a member of the local board, which we are going to read, which is pretty good. Obviously I may not agree with all of it, but there also is a letter to the editor where this woman's like, I've lived here for 11 years, and the press on this stuff is a joke. And this is really worrisome stuff. So we're going to go over all that after we get done with this clip.
Can we talk to somebody in the...
Get back there.
Anyone willing to navigate a boat up the Russian River can get a glimpse of the northern edge of the compound, but that's about all. Still, there are outsiders who have researched the Grove. Sociology professor William Dumhoff found out enough to write a book on the place.
Well, I think it's a playground for the powerful. It's a place where wealthy men from all over the United States gather for 2 weeks to relive summer camp with this ceremony called the Cremation of Care that begins the 2-week encampment where the body of dull care, symbolizing woes and concerns, is burned on an altar in front of a big owl statue. When that ceremony ends, they all start to cheer and yell and hand each other a beer. And
other regular
All right, so let's stop it there. You know what? That is now, obviously Alex Jones and his infamous footage of the Cremation of Care ceremony is out there, but it's gotten so big now where it's in popular culture. They actually show you this with prominent characters, including Kevin Spacey, the President of the United States, doing the Cremation of Care ceremony. They name it by name here. That's how the Bohemian Club in the Redwoods Forest Cremation of Care ceremony. So it's now broken its way into such popular culture that they're showing the President of the United States in a fictional universe doing this with other people of prominence and making backdoor deals. And, that's what they've been doing. The nuclear project, Oppenheimer, all this came from the Bohemian Grove and the Bohemian Club.
Activities include the production of 2 plays, one of which involves major sets, orchestral music, and extravagant costumes. The other play appears to be just a bit on the lighter side, at least judging from these old photos. Members also spend time swimming, hiking, relaxing in the sun, and doing a bit of drinking from the Grove's own privately labeled spirits. Like a boys' camp, the Grove has a symbol, in this case, a somewhat fierce-looking owl. It also has a patron saint, St. John of Naplemuck, a legitimate 13th century Bohemian canonized for his sense of honor. What the Grove does not have is any women, not even as employees. Despite its camp-like atmosphere, the Grove does host some serious business.
To the degree that there's anything important happens at the Bohemian Grove, it's political. The important speeches that have been made at the Bohemian Grove have been made, for instance, and the best example, by Richard Nixon. Eisenhower gave a speech there. It was the first time the West Coast establishment really saw him close up.
Discussions at the Grove in the 1930s helped lead to the development of nuclear power and the atomic bomb.
Interesting.
It was at the Grove in 1967 that Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan hashed out differences over their presidential ambitions.
Oh!
Each year, guests like Henry Kissinger or Zbigniew Brzezinski addressed members on their areas of expertise.
Brzezinski, his hands in all these organizations, Bilderberg, Trilateral Commission, you know, working with the Mujahideen during the Soviet conflict. No big deal.
Presidential counselor Edwin Meese will be among this year's speakers. And each year, other guests come to the Grove simply to enjoy themselves. This year, CIA Director William Casey is a scheduled guest of John McCone, former CIA Director.
Oh, John McCone and, not John McCain, John McCone and William Casey, two figures we recently talked about in my Camelot video on Kennedy. If you've not seen that deep dive and you like the deep dives, guys, here it is right here. Is Warren C. DeBrew, the key to solving the Camelot mystery. Both of those people you just heard about at the Grove were mentioned more than once. Very important. Some important players here.
Baseball Commissioner Bowie Kuhn has been invited as a guest of baseball owner Peter O'Malley. Despite the presence of so many notables, the Grove is not without its small headaches. Anti-nuclear demonstrators gathered near the entrance to the retreat this year to wave signs and chant slogans. The Grove is also facing a suit from the state of California because it refuses to hire women. Still, the Bohemian Grove seems in no danger of passing. Herbert Hoover called it the world's greatest men's party, and there is a list of powerful people waiting to get in on it.
And there's plenty of powerful people that currently are in on it. So, as promised, let's go through this. You know, it is drawing some outrage. This is the 12th, and a lot of the majority are challenging that contract for security at the Grove that we talked about. Okay? It's a $151,000 contract with the county sheriff's office. All right? That's what it was estimated. And again, they've been doing it since it was re-upped in 2004. People are pissed. If you check out this open letter, we're going to get there, but I want to go to, I think I have one more. There it is. So this was a letter to the editor, and at the end, this person, the editor says this: I have been reading the Press Democrats' coverage of the Bohemian Grove ever since I moved to Sonoma County 11 years ago. I first thought it was oddly amusing, a bunch of rich, powerful guys who held secret meetings out in the woods. It was kind of like the comic strips where Calvin and Hobbes built a treehouse and formed a club with the sole purpose of keeping Susie Durkins out. But now I wonder less why they don't want the women there, and I worry more about what exactly they do that requires such a secretive attitude. And yes, we should. Why should we be spending our tax money to protect this gathering unless they are giving such a boost to the local economy with their yearly event? Even with that, what's going on here? I don't like any of it. So here we have an open letter from a woman who works on the board. And by the way, I'm not going to agree with a lot of what she says in the beginning, but when she starts getting to the numbered things, I think it's pretty good. Hi, I'm the local elected official who represents the county, which includes the 2,700 acres worth of Bohemian Grove that you come to play in. I've never set foot on your property. I know you've hung out with all of my 5th District Supervisor predecessors at the Grove, but unlike them, I'm a woman. So I can't come to your camp, which makes this a little awkward. Let me start off, and this is where I don't love it. Let me start off by saying I don't think you're a bad man. In fact, all of the men I know who are affiliated with the Grove are good men, community-minded men, caring men. Not so sure about that. This is where we're disagreeing. And there are a lot of men I didn't know who were affiliated with the Grove, powerful people, influential people, who've been reaching out to me and my colleagues over the past few days advocating on the Grove's behalf. In case you are thinking of talking to me or anyone else about the Grove, I would like to offer some constructive suggestions. These points are all based on things that have been said to me over the past few days. May I suggest, when defending Grove activities in the face of renewed public scrutiny, that you might consider the following strategies. Are you ready? Stop trying to convince me that the Grove is totally normal. It's not! It's weird! But here's the thing, I don't have a problem with weird. But, a lot of people out there may, by the way. So just be honest with me and admit that it's weird. Try, hey, I like to hang out with a bunch of powerful dudes in the redwoods and pee on trees and listen to music to hear famous men speak and burn effigies in weird little tent cities. Because that sounds like West County Burning Man, and I can understand the appeal. I don't understand the appeal, and this long, like I said, especially with these books here, folks. I mean, it's a lot older. I promise you, it's a lot older. A ton. This ain't Burning Man. Although, some of these things are based in that, I guess. I recommend against the argument that the Grove is the same as any other same-sex social group. Other men's and women's group don't have international leaders flying in on private jets and helicopters to a secret 2,700-acre compound. The club prides itself on being elite and having powerful and influential members and visitors, from presidents and Supreme Court justices to political commentators. Yet, when bohos talk to me, they tend to sweep this fact under the rug. Meanwhile, the Grove's own job postings, currently online, brag, our attendees consist of business and political leaders from around the globe. And yeah, we're also talking about world-class rock and roll, country, jazz, and classical musicians and entertainers. It's pretty cool. 3. There are other ways which the Grove isn't like other same-sex social groups. Many men's groups come together for same-sex company, but don't have rules that entirely prohibit females from occupying their property overnight or disallow women from ever entering certain buildings or rooms. I will admit, this is why you veer away from being the West County Burning Man. This kind of weird is a little less fun, quirky, free peeing weird, and a little more creepy witch trial weird. 4. It doesn't really help your case to explain how, although women can't become members, you allow women to work at the Grove. And that's new. I think that was from that suit, by the way. I get where you're trying to go with this. You're saying, hey, we don't want to prohibit women from occupying the property entirely. But just to be clear, this means that only way women are allowed to engage with the Grove is to serve men. Yeesh, now she's coming at it hard. See, this is kind of where I disagree a bit. That's a little odd, right? I mean, try using this pickup line at a bar and see how far it gets you. Why are we talking about pickup lines at bars, by the way? You can't hang out with me as an equal, but you're welcome to serve me drinks or food, park my car, or clean up after my mess. I'll pay you $14 an hour. My guess is that proposition won't go over too well with most women. 5. If even after reading my previous admonition, you still want to tout the Grove's equal employment opportunities for your currently listed $14 to $17 an hour jobs, I want you to know I'm aware that the decision to employ women wasn't actually made by the club membership. Rather, that decision was made by a judge in the 1980s, as you saw in that clip. So yes, they did win that. And the anti-discrimination fair employment case was actually appealed by the club all the way to the Supreme Court. The club lost, so a judge forced you to allow women to work at the Grove. In other words, you don't really get to take credit for employing women because you didn't do that voluntarily. You can take credit for the following: the law you were ordered to do so by a judge. 6, telling me that you have a mother, a wife, or a daughter doesn't make me automatically relate to you, nor does it make me automatically appreciate the Grove. Biologically speaking, we all have mothers. You know what? I'm not even going to get into the rest of it. You all know how it goes down. This is a weird event. It is coming up. It is going to be July 10th to the 28th. What else do we know? Not much. If we start getting lists, please send them my way. We're going to be covering this story, obviously. But that's just a little history lesson on it. Guys, Thank you so much for joining me. If you just saw this and you like information about, I don't know, the Bohemian Grove, the Bilderberg Group, Assange, JFK, 9/11, Dershowitz, Epstein, Bronfman, Nexium, and a lot more. We're doing 5, 6, 7 videos a day. I've got 2 interviews set up later on tonight. I'm going to do one with Eric Jackman. Please subscribe. Hit that like button. Share this stuff on social media. And if you didn't know, guys, it is official. I am flying solo. I'm going to put the link in the description over there. Every little bit helps. But what I'm trying to do is not only do these 5, 6, 7 videos a day, but go beyond that, expand this more, and I'm trying to do so to the tune of only $60K a year. If I can raise $5,000 a month, I feel like this operation is going to be able to grow. We already hit 20K on the road to 30K. Once we hit 30K at the channel, we can do even more and hopefully encourage YouTube to keep a guy like me on the platform, which I think is important, somebody who is not left or right, but about right and wrong, like I know most of you are. So like I said, if you're not subscribed, please get on it. I really do appreciate it. Share my material. And guys, I'll see you on the flip side.